I feel like being stuck is really similar to not being able to fall asleep. And I don't mean the times where you can't fall asleep and you're just kind of laying there and you're looking at the wall or the ceiling and you're just maybe scrolling and it's annoying and you're getting a little stressed about it, but it's, not the biggest thing. You eventually drift off, and that's that. It's like the sleep where in the morning, like in 4 hours you have to go to work, or you have you have to travel, you have obligations, you just have a long day, stuff like that, where the lack of sleep will hugely affect how the next day goes. Being stuck is similar because you lay there in bed and you get stressed that you're not sleeping, and you think about how bad it will be if you don't get the sleep you need, and that makes you more stressed, and then it just spirals and spirals. And even if you eventually do fall asleep, it's not restful sleep because you fell asleep, anxious and worried. And then the next day, regardless of the sleep you got, you feel exhausted and tired and crabby. With being stuck, you get to a certain age. I guess it's different for everybody, but you get to an age where you realize that you just haven't done anything with your life. It's kind of gone to waste. And I'm in my late 20s right now, and so for me I'm feeling like the last almost 30 years have been wasted. And for you, I don't think there has to be an age limit. I'm sure people well into like their 80s, or people unfortunately even as early as maybe like 15 or 16, maybe even earlier if things are a little more intense, but and anywhere in between those ages. And you get in the same cycle of feeling like you don't have anything to show for the time that you've spent on life. Like you don't have anything to show that you're here. And maybe you did go to school, and maybe that adds to it is you've gone to school but you don't have anything to show for it, and you can't get a job. I think every single person I know except for one person who has graduated from college is not in their field, and they're not even adjacent to it. It's just and they all feel like college was kind of a waste of time for them, but that's a separate thing. I think, and then the cycle kind of starts of you feel stuck, and then you realize why you're stuck, and it just kind of compounds on itself until you get to a point where you feel just completely defeated. And then you might even get to a point where you're like, well, I'm going to change that. I'm done. Maybe if you haven't gone to school, you say, I am going to go to school. Or you say, and it's not even I won't even go to school for anything in particular. I'll do generals and figure it out, but I'll start now. Or you say, I'm going to take any job, doesn't matter, entry-level job, whether it's like a line cook at a restaurant, or a sales associate at a grocery store or retail store. You get the job and you're like, I'm just going to work here for as long as it takes, and then eventually I'm going to get to a point where I'm promoted, and then I'll be a manager. And it's not what I wanted to do. It's something I'm necessarily interested in, but at this point I just need to commit to something. And it's also possible you take a route that I think probably a lot of people take, that makes them kind of feel more down this path of you take a creative route. I could publish a book. I could try my hand at social media. I could try writing, content writing. I could try maybe even filmmaking. And regardless of what it is, it fizzles out, and you end up feeling back like you're stuck and you're not going anywhere and you're done. And if anything, it feels worse after you try to attempt to get out of it and fail. Well, with sleep, the difference between laying in bed with no distractions, maybe a book, but no bright lights, no stimulation past just, some light reading, but laying in bed, trying to sleep, the difference that makes between not even trying, like getting up, taking a walk with friends, getting online, playing games, scrolling on your phone, like the difference is massive. Because even if you're just laying in bed, your body physically is still at rest and is still winding down. Your body, your mind, parts of it are shutting down and resetting and resting, because even if you're not sleeping, your body knows that it's time to sleep, and it is putting things in reserves and it's recharging. Even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it feels like your thoughts are going 1,000 miles an hour, even just laying in bed trying to sleep makes a world of difference than it would if you just didn't try at all. Similarly, if you're feeling stuck, I believe it's the same deal. If you are in a spot where you feel like you're not progressing and you haven't progressed up until that point, and maybe even you feel like you can't progress, you're still doing something. You're still being a physical mass that can think and feel and create and make other things feel and manipulate the world. You're still doing that, even if you're not trying to. Those things are still happening, even if it's not something that you're intentionally doing or deliberately doing. And you're on the other side of the same coin, you're also still absorbing knowledge. You're still growing, you're still learning, again, even if you're not realizing it. You're still absorbing the world and becoming a different person. And even the act of not liking where you're at and having a desire to be in a different spot can be the difference. Like, that can be the growth, and that can be the change. If you were to put someone in a coma, or like cryo sleep or whatever, and you put them in there for 20 years, and then you lived 20 years of your life, and at the end of those 20 years, you just jumped from entry-level job to entry-level job, didn't go to school, didn't have roommates, you don't have your own place, you travel every now and then, you have hobbies that you teeter in and out of, and you feel like you wasted those 20 years. Then you pull a guy out from cryo sleep, and you compare the two of you. I mean, are you really going to try and say that you guys are the same? You're still a being in the world, and you're still growing and absorbing knowledge. Something that I have struggled with a lot is this feeling of feeling stuck. I jump from job to job, and I commit, and I don't just quit on a whim. I stay at least a year in every job I go to, not on purpose. I don't have like a thing set for myself where I'm like, I won't quit until a year has passed. But a year is about how long it takes for me to really put in the effort and to like sit down with my boss and say, all right, it's been a year. Like, what's the future looking like? Like, what positions are there for me to grow into? And, one way or the other, it's a dissatisfactory answer. And I say, well, then I'm going to move on and find something else that's less stressful, that pays more, that's more aligned with my interests. Although, honestly, that last one, if I could find a job that I'm interested in, then I wouldn't care about money and schedule at this point, but that's a side thing. And it's easy to get back to the point. For me, it's easy to feel like I've wasted all this time just doing meaningless work and what a lot of the time feels like a meaningless world. And that in turn makes me, myself, feel meaningless. But I've learned so much from even just the jobs I've had, not even thinking about the time spent just living life outside of those jobs, even though it often feels like there's not a lot of life outside those jobs. Just me in those jobs by themselves has taught me so much. And I've learned a lot about confidence, about time management, about respect, about commitments, about just being an adult and being an authoritative figure. So I guess a leader is the word you would say for that. And that's not to mention, you know, therapy, dealing with losing people, dealing with, you know, people moving on, prospects of planning for the future, making adult decisions that, you know, matter and impact your life. And I know, this is all to say, it might be a small thing and it may feel meaningless when you hear it, but I just truly believe, you know, if you're alive, and even if you're just coasting from moment to moment and just disassociating for 8 hours of the day so you can get through your shift and then go home and scroll TikTok or play a video game until bedtime, you're still a person in the world. And I mean, this goes without saying about, like, you still matter, but you still are experiencing things and making things happen. And, you know, not all of us, it's just true, not all of us get to fulfill, you know, our big fantasy dreams, but we all do get to live a life where we have meaning and where we give other people and things meaning. And that's, you know, that's significant and important. And it's not much, but it's how I feel right now. You know, these feelings are hard to reconcile and hard to figure out, but they're true, that you can't give up on yourself. And if you want to make those changes, you know, if you want to progress, if you want to go to school, if you want to just work a job to the bone and just go up the ranks of that job so that you can be in a position that pays you a lot and is stable, or if you want to go for your dreams, which is a good idea, and I'm in no way saying that, you know, you shouldn't try. Like, no matter what you do, all of that starts with you believing in yourself. Like, success starts even just with the tiniest just hint of the thought that, like, it's possible that I can achieve this thing. It's possible that if I work hard and commit, even though I have no idea what I'm doing, and I don't even know what the end goal looks like or what anything between now and the end goal is, if I try, I will be able to succeed, and I will be able to do this. Or at the very least, the path will take me to somewhere that's equally as good, if not better, than what I'm imagining. And I really truly believe that. Believing in yourself is how you're going to start being successful and being a person that is able to move through life with meaning and deliberation. And I'm just starting that journey right now. And I'm still feeling the weight of feeling like nothing's happening and I'm a waste of space. But I have to believe that I can do things. You know, I'm not just a mindless automaton that got thrown into the world for the sake of just being an NPC that's filling up the space. No, I'm a person. I have just as much of a claim and just as much of a right as anybody else to be successful and to be able to do the things I want to do. And even just getting to that mindset took years and years of work, and I still don't even, you know, fully believe it all the time. But it's the thought that I'm grasping to, and that I am choosing to believe because I have to, and because I believe it's true. So I hope that this helps somebody. I believe in you. And I really do believe that you can do things if you just try. Just believe in yourself and just push yourself a little more every day, every week, every month, every year. Just try. And if you have to start somewhere, just try believing that you can do something. Try letting yourself fantasize about achieving the goals that you want. Just imagine what it would be like, and start your tiny baby steps down the path of being in a headspace where you can sit and you can say, I can do this. Because I believe you can. And I hope you try. I'm going to try. And I believe I can. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you being here and trying. Please continue to. I'll talk to you in the next one.